أعوذ ب... We once had a teacher, the teacher of teachers. He changed the world for the better and made us better creatures. Oh Allah, we shamed ourselves, we strayed from Al-Mu'allim. Surely we wronged ourselves, what will we say in front of him? Oh, Mu'allim. He was Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Muhammad, mercy upon mankind, teacher of all mankind. أبا القاسم يا حبيبي يا محمد، يا شفيعي يا محمد، خير خلق الله محمد. يا مصطفى يا إمام المرسلين، يا مصطفى يا شفيع العالمين، يا مصطفى يا إمام المرسلين، يا مصطفى يا شفيع العالمين. He prayed whilst others slept, while others ate hid fast. While they would laugh, he wept until he breathed his last. His only wish was for us to be amongst the ones who prosper. Ya Mu'allim, peace be upon you, truly you are a teacher. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Muhammad, mercy upon mankind, teacher of all mankind. Ya Habibi, Ya Muhammad, Ya Shafi'i, Ya Muhammad, يا رسولي يا محمد، يا بشيري يا محمد، يا نصيري يا محمد، عشق قلبي يا محمد، نور عيني يا محمد. He taught us to be just and kind, and to feed the poor and hungry, help the wafer and the orphan child, and to not be cruel and miserly. His speech was soft and gentle, like a mother stroking her child. His mercy and compassion were most radiant when he smiled. He was Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Muhammad, mercy upon mankind. He was Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Muhammad, mercy upon mankind, teacher of all mankind. أبا القاسم يا حبيبي يا محمد، يا شفيعي يا محمد، خير خلق الله محمد، يا مصطفى يا إمام.
Assalamu alaikum guys, it's me Johan on the Better Together show on Ramadan Radio Wolverhampton 87.9. I'm here in the studio with Ridwan, Atik and Shaf.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum guys, good morning, what's going on?
Alhamdulillah, not too bad. Yourself, boys?
Yeah, surviving.
You know, yes.
Was that early morning?
Second
It is.
day.
It's the
As
early
per
morning.
usual.
It's the early morning. I just hope everybody's having a fantastic morning. Those that are awake, and those that are asleep, enjoy your sleep.
What was that song that we just played, Johan?
That was Al Muallim. It's actually my second song I ever produced and made. One of my favorite nasheeds of all time. It's vocals only. There was not a vocals only version of this particular nasheed, so I thought I would give it a go and see how it comes out. And obviously, I can't say how it is.
No, alhamdulillah, that was.
It was beautiful,
It was,
mashallah.
honestly.
Thank
It was a
you.
cover, right?
It is a cover,
Yeah.
definitely a cover of Sami Yusuf Al Muallim.
I thought I heard it before somewhere.
Vocals only.
Vocals only, that's
Yeah,
it.
vocals only.
Alhamdulillah, so today on the show we will be talking about how
I think we'll touch on something we spoke about last week in terms
Yeah,
of
yeah,
music.
yeah. We'll touch up on a few things. I think that was sort of. I believe we should carry over from last week.
100%.
One of them was the education thing. You know, the whole university and work balance.
Yes.
We never got to finish that conversation. And also regarding the whole music and nasheed industry, if that's what you want to call it. Yeah. So you guys want to kick that off?
Yeah, I mean, once we've spoken about education and schooling system and so on, we'll have a guest from a big corporate bank. He will be
Okay.
talking. His name's Sakid Dorset. He has done a lot of charity work. He's done a lot of. He works for a corporate bank, so he's going to give his insight into working during lockdown, so, Ramadan, how big corporate businesses are basically
Coping, in essence,
coping as well, but catering for Muslims during Ramadan and lockdown as well. So we'll get a very good insight into that. And we'll be speaking from our own experiences as well. So
How's it
inshallah.
going with you, Ridwan? I mean, I know you're working, and how are you finding it? Because your work times are quite.
Yeah,
It fluctuates quite a fair
It
bit.
does, yes. So today, normally I'm doing the 8 till 5. Alhamdulillah, I've been blessed and I can actually do the radio show. So my managers have given me that leeway. But today I'm actually at the end of the branch. So I'm working from 3 till... Is it 3 till 10? So I'm missing
Late
iftar. Yeah, so...
SubhanAllah.
if
May Allah
that
reward
then,
you, my bro,
inshallah,
for your
yeah.
hard work, man.
Ameen.
Honestly.
You know what? It's worth it, to be fair, because yesterday I made a bit of a mistake. I didn't wake up for Sehri. So I would expect... I didn't eat for 24 hours until iftar. So I expect I was starving, but to be fair, because I was so busy throughout the day, I was all right. I wasn't
Yeah.
thirsty. I wasn't
I guess
hungry,
it
so
allows you to pass your time a
exactly,
bit
yeah.
more quickly.
It's quick, and I've got something to do, and I'm active, and that's the point of Ramadan as well. You can't be just sitting
Absolutely,
there, isn't
I
it?
agree.
That's true.
I mean, one of the things when I used to work that I've had found quite difficult in Ramadan and with work was the fact that I didn't get enough time to focus on my ibadah. And especially with Ramadan, the days being so long. I mean, last year it was quite long,
It's
wasn't
quite
it? So
long, yeah, it's
like
longer.
something like was it 17 hours or so?
Something like that,
Something
yeah.
along those lines. I can't quite remember, but it was long. It was very long. So it was a lack of sleep, and then working majority of the day, coming home, you're so knackered. Then focusing on your ibadah, I found, well, personally, I just found it quite difficult because all I was thinking about is how I need to rest at a certain specific time and then get enough amount of rest so I can go back to work the next morning. So that shouldn't really be the focal point of anyone's Ramadan, really. But that was me. I guess that's just my weakness. But I see so many other people, mashallah, that are working, especially the key workers in this time of lockdown. May Allah accept them. May Allah reward them for their sacrifices. Honestly, it's a big deal, man. So,
Yeah.
so big up Ridwan.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Rob. Thank you.
Big up,
Honestly, I
Ridwan.
appreciate your words.
I think we'll leave it there for now
Yeah,
for
sure.
the work because we'll have a lot more to talk about
Mm.
once we come on topic. And let's just cover what we left on last week.
Yeah.
One of the things that we left off on last week was music, and you had a few more things to say, Johan, about music.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping we can pick this up on the next segment, but that's fine. We can kick it off with that. With music, I mean, it was interesting. Where did we leave the conversation last time? Do you guys even remember? It was quite interesting, wasn't it?
It was.
I think it was the lack of opportunities within the nasheed industry, if that's what you want to call it, that I had faced, and I feel like a lot of people do face. Because look, there's not a lack of talent within the Muslim community. There isn't. There really isn't. There is a lot of young Muslim, girls and boys that do have a lot of talent, whether that's singing, whether that's spoken words, or whatever it may be. But due to lack of encouragement from our families, not everybody, obviously. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but I'm talking majority. And due to lack of opportunities and platforms, it is very, very difficult for someone to break through into the nasheed game, because the support mechanism isn't there. There isn't any guidance or a structure. Like, for example, like there is not a particular route that you can follow. Like, for example, alhamdulillah, because I've been doing it for a couple of years now, I now get certain emails, not emails, the certain DMs on Instagram from, like, you know, different parts of the world, from the States and from, you know, parts of the subcontinent. In fact, the funny thing is, I literally received a DM like 2 days ago from a young lad in Kashmir, believe it or not, and he's like, brother, I'm trying to you know, do some nasheeds. I want to become a nasheed singer. I just don't know where to start. So what do you tell them? Do you know what I mean? Like, do I just say, mate, just get on with it and do your thing? Because I don't know where to tell him to start.
How did it start from, like, you know, like the mainstream music industry? Like, how do people that follow that, how do they get into music?
So with the music industry, the actual mainstream music industry, if you look at the artists, obviously they use music. That's number one. They use musical instruments, right?
Like promotion as well.
Absolutely. So they can learn a piece of musical instrument, whether it's guitar, piano, whatever it may be, and they write their own music and whatever. And if they get scouted by producers or anybody that want to basically push them, then they get signed by a label.
Okay.
And then the label basically takes care of everything else.
In order to obviously get that opportunity, would you say it's more to do with self-promotion or having a group of people?
Initially, yes. Yeah. Of course, you're going to have to do some self-promotion, because you can't just hide at home and expect someone to discover you. Not, no. You know, but alhamdulillah, now that platform is there, like YouTube is there. But what I'm trying to say is, like, for example, if a mainstream music artist was to put some content out there on YouTube and they're good at what they do, there is more of a chance of somebody picking them up as a talent and then nurturing them, helping them grow, giving them that platform, giving them that structure, so they can focus purely on creativity, and everything else is sort of almost taken care of for him or her, right? In the nasheed business, there isn't anything like that.
Would you say there's a lack of labels in the nasheed?
Definitely there's a lack of label. Well, if we know the big names, there's only two. Are we allowed to name?
I think
record
knows
labels?
Anyway.
Let's not.
Okay, let's avoid name. Everybody knows. Anybody that's familiar with the game. Were you going to say something, Atik?
No. So I was going to say, it's not exactly. It's. I don't believe you need a label. I know it's very beneficial at some.
No,
point
you don't.
In the life.
I agree with that. Especially, you don't need a label if the label really hasn't got much to offer. In the sense that I don't even think, like, when it comes to Muslim labels, other than the big names, the labels themselves don't know how to run a label, in essence. So but that's a story for another day altogether, right? But if you're talking about upcoming guys and how they want to do things and where they should start, you'll get a different answer from different guys, right? Whereas in the music industry, you get picked up and you get nurtured and you get given that structure and you have that platform ready for you, yeah, if you're good enough, obviously. Then you can grow as a talent, and the marketing is there, and the exposure is there, etc., etc. In a nasheed game, even till today, like, I'm having to do pretty much everything on my own, creating the content, putting it out there, doing the videos, trying to get the marketing sorted, everything out there, and it's so difficult, and the lack of support is quite overwhelming at times, honestly. Because there isn't much support available out there, other than like a couple of shots out here and there. There isn't much available, and that's quite sad. And that's one of the main reasons I actually started with JA Vocals. Because I struggled so much for about almost a year and a bit with the idea of JA Vocals, I thought to myself, instead of going here and there and relying on people, trying to ask for some feedback, trying to ask for some guidance and whatever it may be, and then just waiting on them and nothing happening, I'm losing time. And I'm losing days, which I'm never going to get back, right? So I was thinking, instead of doing this, I'll just start making my own things. So I'm not kidding, bruv. Literally one of my mates, good friend of mine, Allah reward him honestly, he literally funded my studio time. Because I didn't have the money or the funding to basically spend time in the studio, right? So he funded that with the belief in my talent, that, okay, this kid, has something in him, and inshallah he'll get somewhere one day.
Inshallah.
With that belief, we started.
Mm.
We used his iPhone. I didn't even have an iPhone. I had a broken phone. Couldn't afford a new phone, believe it or not, yeah? And we used his iPhone, no tripod, no equipment, nothing. And we took videos using just like that.
Wow.
Yeah, just a bunch of us mates, and we did it like that. Alhamdulillah, it's come a long way from there, bro. It's come a long way from there, but alhamdulillah. But I'm very lucky because I had those friends. I had friends like, big up Atik as well. I don't want to keep him behind that mic without bigging him up as well. Is that, he's helping with my video and such, right? But at the same time, if I didn't have friends like this, I probably wouldn't have carried on. I probably wouldn't be here.
I think last week you were saying as well that essentially because of the lack of support that there is out there in terms of like the community and everything like that, you mentioned something about like creating a hub or some sort of space or some sort of
Bang on.
community platform online where people can come and just express their interest or show off their talent or anything like that. Almost like
Exactly.
a talent hub, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
And
I
think
agree.
something like that does need to be in place because
The youth today need it, bro.
yeah,
You have to agree because us growing up, our time, like growing up was a bit different, but now it's a bit different. You can see that the youth really need a motive like that, really need a place like that where they can share their ideas with fellow peers, right?
yeah, because as you said as well, like if you don't know where to start, then that might be a barrier.
Where do you go from there?
That might be a barrier for you to start.
Yeah. It puts you off. Honestly, it puts you off because when you like, I enjoy singing, right? So this is why I just stayed motivated. At times I wanted to give up. If it wasn't for the push from certain friends, alhamdulillah, I would, honest to God, like I probably wouldn't have made any songs, right?
And you stick with the career path.
Exactly. But they pushed me, alhamdulillah. But I just think to myself, how many of the people out there has that push? I know so many people that are so good when it comes to writing poetry, spoken words. I've read some of their work, like amazing work, but they don't know what to do with it. It's just rotting away in a notepad somewhere or on their phones, and it'll never go anywhere.
Thinking about it now as well, like talk about a lot of nasheed artists. I'm thinking like solo artists, individual artists, but there's not many like group nasheed groups out there now as well.
There isn't. Yeah,
There
you're
isn't
right.
Actually, like I haven't actually seen like any recent ones, to be honest.
That's true.
There's like
I
duos,
haven't come across
like
it,
duos
though.
and things like that as well. But
You know why there isn't, bro? Because who's gonna put them together? Who's gonna fund it? Tell me. If you look at I'm not gonna mention any particular mainstream show names because everybody knows what those shows are. These group usually gets formed on those shows,
Yeah, I was
right?
thinking
They
that
go,
as well.
people audition and things like that, and certain creative team like, okay, this person, let's put these guys together, it'll sound good or whatever it may be. Who the hell is going to do that for the Muslims? Who? I was actually chatting to a very big nasheed name. Obviously, I'm not going to mention any names, but he's a really good brother, mashallah. Yeah. So I was having a chat with him, and he said to me, "Bruv, if I had the funding, I would actually take on talent like yourselves, and I would like hope to be that support mechanism for you and people like yourself to make you grow." But he goes, I barely have the funding for myself. And this guy is worldwide, by the way. He's worldwide, mashallah. He's done very well for himself, right? And he's saying that to me. He's like, I wish I could do something for people like you and the upcoming guys. And I was like, what do I say? Do you know, what do you say to that?
That is true. Yeah, I think I'm not too sure about that. Then it's just I think.
Can we talk about your experiences in becoming signed and so on? So like, I want to know how you got there eventually.
That was very random, to be honest with you. But what happened was, it was via Instagram actually. So through Instagram, there was another brother that recites nasheeds and so on. We became friends on Instagram, and he posted a post one day saying that he's going to be signed by a label and so on soon. So I DM'd him and I said, due to like I never had any funding whatsoever and I was struggling quite bad actually. So I thought, I could do with a bit of help and a bit of push. So I messaged him and I said, what's this all about? And he said, okay, so a group of brothers has taken initiative to set up a label for the youngsters. And I was like, okay, that's brilliant. That's a banging motive. So I asked for the brothers' numbers. I was given them. I replied to them. And I asked them what's going on, so on and so forth. Turns out, I think one of them had already known who I was from beforehand.
Right. Okay.
So fast forward many months, heard nothing, whatever. I don't even know what was going on. I think they were just doing something behind the scenes and setting it all up. They contacted me last Ramadan randomly via, I believe it was Instagram or WhatsApp. I can't quite remember. But they made a trip to Birmingham from where they're based and had like a couple-hour meeting. It was in Ramadan. And they were like, we'd be interested in signing you. They explained their vision for their record label, where they saw it going in the future and whatnot. And it sort of matched with few things according to my vision as well. So I was like, okay, let's give this a go, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, all of it came together. They sent me out the contract, and Atik, I believe you read the contract through.
Yeah, very boring, but it has to be done.
It was
Someone
a big
has to do
contract.
it.
But alhamdulillah, and then eventually I ended up signing with them. I would say alhamdulillah, it was a good decision. It was a good decision because through them, they really supported me in many ways, and I'm very grateful for that. And I really wish more labels like this would come about and grow and really nurture talent. Because otherwise, talent is just wasted. What kind of entertainment is really out there for Muslims? There's so many out there on the mainstream media, but there's not much in the Muslim community, other than those guys that do it on their own kind of.
Do you know in terms of other like entertainments or like comedians and so on and so forth, Muslim ones? Do you get a lot of support from that area just because you're Muslims or no?
No. With what I've found is quite strange. Really, is that whatever you're doing, that community themselves sometimes can be very lacking with their support. But I get that though. At this stage, I do get that. Like for example, say Ritz, suppose you're a singer, and you're a nasheed singer, and say you have X amount of following, which is a big amount, right? And I'm an upcoming guy. You work so hard to get to where you are.
Fair enough.
And you use your social media platform to promote yourself, which is fair enough. You know what I mean? It's reasonable. Along comes Johan with his JA Vocals project, and he's like, brother, can you give me a shout out? Now, you work for those 100,000 followers very hard, and you work from ground zero. Why would you, as a man, help me? Why? If I have nothing to show for it, why would you help me? Do you know what I mean? So I think what happens nowadays as well, it works two ways. A lot of these guys that are upcoming, they haven't done any work. They just want a couple of shout outs from the big lads and want to get their names out there. But at the same time, the bigger lads should try and recognize who are actual talent, and if they've actually worked hard and put some effort into their work beforehand, before approaching them. So I mean that's it really. You don't get much support out of your network of work. So as a singer, I'm getting a lot of support, alhamdulillah, from my fellow singers. But other than that, outside of that, not really. Within the whole, the ethnic minority comedic scene, we're quite familiar with the Bengali community, mashallah. They're doing quite well. Nah, I don't really see much of that, to be honest with you. I haven't experienced it as of yet anyway. But maybe in the future, who knows? I'm not familiar with it anyway.
We've only got 2 minutes until break, but it's something I want to continue probably after the break.
Okay.
And it's a discussion we've, I think, had before, Johan.
Yeah.
About I think for an industry that you're in, there's you need to develop thick skin.
100%.
Because one thing we were talking about, and going back to the idea of it being a Muslim scene, and then the idea of a support system, is that more times than none, other than your core group of friends, it's the support system isn't there, but rather there's a lot of backlash.
100%.
And the backlash is because of where you identify yourself on that spectrum of nasheed singer. And I think we were speaking with yourself and spoken word artist called Heretic. And we were discussing how one of his cousins was he loved reading Quran, and he popped it on Instagram, and once he did, there was this whole idea of, this guy's a Muslim guy, and the idea of him being a human disappears. So do you think something like that happens quite often?
Would you like me to answer that now or post break?
Well, we've got a minute 30, so I think we'll get into the grit of it after.
I'll start you off. You're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. I can only talk from my experience, right? So I'm going to tell you what's happened with me. And again, this is subjective. People are first to criticize over anything else. They'll be sitting there and they'll just criticize the tiniest of things. And praises are very they're in shortage. Honestly, appreciation and praises are really not out there. People love criticizing. I don't know what it is about people, man. They love criticizing.
Is it taken like maybe as constructive criticism?
No, there's nothing constructive about majority of those criticism. I mean, really isn't. I can't even tell you what some of the criticisms are. It doesn't even make sense. Do you know what I mean? But look, everybody has a brain. You know the difference between constructive criticism and something that's just, you're just, really gunning the person down unnecessarily. I found that out a lot. Do you know what I mean? And I've heard of a lot of fellow artists that face that on a daily basis. And going back to the topic of Atik and having a thick skin, if you don't have a thick skin, this game ain't for you, man. And I feel like, look, we'll continue after the break anyway.
Yeah,
inshallah.
definitely. It is, we won't talk about extensively, we'll probably talk about half of them. Assalamu alaikum, guys. We're back off the break, and just before the break, we were talking about. Well, we introduced the topic was music, but we introduced the idea of needing a support system and needing thick skin in the industry, especially in the Muslim industry, because of the lack of support, and not only the lack of support, but the identity that you're prescribed by the people that look at you is probably different to who you are as a person, and it's a big responsibility. And I think, Johan, you're on about how that responsibility affects you as an artist, because at the end of the day, you're a human, but some people think that you're superhuman or a super Muslim.
Bang on.
So do you want to carry on with that?
Yeah. I mean, a couple of things I want to say before I'll just cut the topic short, because I can literally go on for days on this particular topic. But we were talking about having a thick skin. That's something you definitely need to have, and I don't think that's just to do with singing though. I think it's any type of public platform. As soon as you put yourself out there and in public eye, you must be ready for criticism, because it's going to come. Not everyone's going to like you, and not everyone's going to hate you. As much as criticism as you receive, you're also going to receive a good amount of love from people as well, that will love you and appreciate you for your work. Coming back to that whole putting people on a pedestal, this is something that I feel extremely passionate about. Because what we tend to do, because I get these DMs a lot, right? Brother, mashallah, you're such a good brother. May Allah reward you. May keep continuing. And I say, why do you think I'm a good brother? How do you know that? Do you live with me? You don't live with me, right? You don't know how I am on a 24-hour basis. So you're automatically putting me on a pedestal depending on what I do. And that's not fair, because that puts unnecessary pressure on people like me. Because I'm a singer. I produce music, vocals only, a cappella music, for people's entertainment, and hopefully if they can benefit from me as well, alhamdulillah. But that doesn't make me a super Muslim. I have my own flaws. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
And I think on the flip side in the industry, if you were seen, and we've got a surge of this now where there's nasheeds with action music in. And I think on the flip side, where this person that's singing, and it's probably a release for them, or it's probably a way of ibadah for them, or, we don't know the intentions.
Exactly,
but they might be a lot better as a Muslim than us.
Exactly.
But automatically, because he's singing like a rap type of nasheed, or he's got music in there, this guy's wrong, this guy's not a good Muslim. And I think that's something that we suffer with in the creative field, regardless of whether it's Muslim, or regardless of whether you're a comedian. Because I know a comedian brother, Bengali brother, who does a lot of charity work. And an image is a thing that's always in the front of a person's mind, especially when you're at such a stage. And when I was doing some university events with music, and I invited him over, and he politely rejected my request and politely said no. And when I spoke to him and asked him why, and he goes, bro, the reason why is I do all these events with all these Islamic charities. For me to be mixing on stage with a non-Islamic scene or a non-Islamic entertainment, it impacts my image. And before that, and before obviously we had the discussion and we became closer, this was going back 2016, 2017. Before that, I never understood the concept of, I knew we need to keep our image, but from a Muslim point of view, I'm going to get slated if I go on
Bang
that
on.
stage with you.
Bang on.
I never thought that something like that existed, because obviously I didn't think like that. But coming, being friends with you and friends with other artists, I'm being exposed to it a bit more, and it is upsetting.
Absolutely.
But and I imagine it takes a big toll on you.
It does, man. You know what it is? It's very unnecessary as well. Like, I was having a chat with one of the guys that's also a singer, and he was like, "Bro, you're a nasheed artist, and obviously you have a certain amount of responsibility with that." I said, "Hold up, 1 second.
I'm not a nasheed artist.
First of all, I'm not a nasheed artist.
Yeah.
Okay, I am a vocals only a cappella singer. When you say nasheed artist, and I respect nasheed artists, by the way, I have nothing against that. People are doing amazing work when they're doing that. With my intention is I can create some type of, if I write some lyrics and I don't have Islamic words in there, like Allah, inshallah, subhanallah, whatever it may be, so Islamic words, I can still write meaningful lyrics, right?
Yeah.
And that could be applicable to any individual, Muslim or non-Muslim, as long as it's making you contemplate. That's what my aim is as a singer and a content creator in terms of music. That's what my aim is. But when people introduce me as a nasheed artist, okay, or they perceive me to be a nasheed artist because I've sang a few covers of nasheeds, that's unfair on me then, because you need to ask me first what I am, right?
I think a prime example of that is how we call people sheikhs before they are sheikhs.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh my days.
And alhamdulillah, even today, and subhanallah, this person is beautiful, and he brought me closer to the Quran.
Mashallah.
Qari Hazza al-Balushi,
Mashallah.
a young lad. He's like a year older than me, and mashallah, when I was first introduced to him in 2017, his Quran and his Qiraat touched me in the heart. And just today I saw a Facebook live advert for a masjid saying, "Oh, we're inviting Sheikh Hazza al-Balushi," and I was wondering what would he think, because I was close with a brother called Sheikh Abdul Jabbar, who now has his ijazah to be a sheikh, but he was really vexed whenever he was invited by a third party to do an event.
And they refer to him as sheikh.
Yeah, because all of his internal events was brother Abdul Jabbar at that point.
Right.
And then people started putting him on the sheikh's pedestal, and he's like, "Yo, I ain't on that level yet. I need to go back." And he came back and studied at the madrasa I was at, and asked for ijazah from Mullah Abdul Rahim rahimahullah. And I think it's very similar, because you're put on that pedestal and then you're given that responsibility that you probably didn't want, or you didn't not want, but you don't think that you need at that point in life.
Exactly.
And it puts that pressure on you.
It really takes a toll on your personal life, man. Honestly, I feel the pressure, certainly, because it's difficult. But so my request would be to the general public and listeners that don't put. I'm a singer, so I'm going to speak from a singer's perspective. What they want to do with shuyukh and stuff like that, they can speak on their behalf, right? Problem. Do not put us on a pedestal, honestly, because I'm a singer. I love singing. I love creating stuff, halal music for yourselves, right? So just enjoy my work, but don't see me as someone special in the sense that, oh, my guy is such a good guy doing something amazing here, yeah? Because I could be the biggest sinner in the world. Do you know what I mean? So do not put people in pedestal. Then you don't have to be shocked and disappointed when they disappoint you, right? Do you know what I mean? If there's nothing to be disappointed about, then you don't need to feel disappointed altogether.
What essentially you're saying is that the public giving you a default image.
Yes, exactly. They put you somewhere. Yeah.
And then you have the expectation, I have to be like this now, and you're always second thinking about what you
absolutely
do.
And it really takes you out of your own shell. Like, I'm sometimes thinking that, like, hang on, I ain't even this guy. Like, I'm not a nasheed artist. I'm not what these people are perceiving me to be. Do I now have to be this way? Exactly. Because they think of me this way. So alhamdulillah, so far I've been able to stay true to myself. I'm still who I am. You guys know me personally, so you know how I am, right? I'm a very outspoken guy, or whatever it may be, but I try to keep that side away from my singing.
Of course.
I try to do the talking. Hopefully in the future, when I am actually working on original content at the moment through lyrics and whatever it may be. Original content or whatever. So when that releases, I want to speak through my work. I don't really want to have an opinion like this, unless it's like obviously like an interview situation or a podcast or whatever it may be. So yeah, like I was saying, man, just enjoy the work, but don't put the person on a pedestal, because it's really difficult think of that person as a human being as well. That person's working hard to create content for you and your families, your friends. so you can have a good time and enjoy yourselves, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Give that person that respect of their own privacy, and don't make life difficult for them. That's the only thing I would want to say on that, man.
No
Otherwise, I
problem.
can keep going on and on and on and on.
No,
but I
no
don't think that
problem.
would be appropriate.
Just to clear things, you said, "Oh, I can still write meaningful lyrics." Sad boy hours.
Yeah, bro.
That's where Johan's
Yeah.
inspiration comes from.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather fade it into the next topic.
Yeah. go on.
And by fading it in, I mean you sing.
Mm.
You just finished your uni work for the year, so
Yeah.
that's out the way. But last year, were you working?
I was working.
You were working. You were about to get signed, so you're still making content
Yeah.
independently, and you were at uni last year as well.
Yeah.
I know we'll talk about this year, but take us back to last year. How was that for you? How was juggling all of that for you?
Honest to God, September 2009, not September, sorry. Yeah, September 2019
Mm.
till end of 2019. Probably some of the hardest months of my life.
Mhm.
All of 2019 was pretty difficult due to personal reasons, whatever it may be. But in terms of the context that you put it in, work, uni, music,
Mm.
it was so bad.
Mm.
Like, I was working, and I mean, I'm not exaggerating here, almost at times 17, 18 hours a day, man.
Bloody
Ridiculously.
crazy.
Like, early mornings, work, and then immediately after I finish work. And it's a lot of pressure as well because of the job that I had. It was very heavy on the mind, put it that way. It wasn't like physical labor. And then studying for my degree, which is also super challenging,
Mm.
and then focusing on my music.
Mm.
For those couple of months, boys, I was fried, man. I was absolutely. You remember? You used to come to my
yeah,
house,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
and I was. It was so difficult, honestly.
Had to make our own tea.
Yeah.
Exactly. I made my guests make their own tea. So there you go. That should say it all.
What about Ramadan? What were you doing last Ramadan in terms of work, and did you have any extra things?
Yeah. So
commitment-wise?
So last Ramadan I had uni
Mhm.
and exams. That I don't really like doing much in Ramadan in terms of work and uni and all that. But I've never really had a break in Ramadan. Like I said, I think it was a couple of last week, was it?
Yeah,
one of the
last week,
one of the shows I was saying. I've never had a break in Ramadan. I've always had to do something, which really aggravates me because I want to focus in Ramadan, man. I think everybody does, doesn't it? Everybody
Yeah.
that wants to have some sort of focus. But last Ramadan, my main thing was I believe I was studying,
Mhm.
and it was like hard exams as well, man. And I was like, yo, I need to really get this out of the way. Alhamdulillah, though, I don't know what it was, but through the barakah of Ramadan or whatever it may be, it worked out. I got good
Alhamdulillah.
grades, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So I can't really complain. But I didn't really enjoy it, put it that way. I wasn't working in Ramadan. No, hang on. I was working in Ramadan. I was working in a restaurant, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. At that time. Oh, I hated doing that, man. It was.
I
it was-
rather enjoyed working in a restaurant, to be fair.
It
I don't know
depends.
if
It
it's
wasn't a restaurant that you would enjoy working in.
Do you know what it is?
Some restaurants you really do enjoy working in.
Yeah.
But this wasn't one of them.
Oh, is it not?
Yeah, it
I
wasn't
think,
one of
do you know, if you're I don't know, I can't speak for all Bengalis, but
Mm.
most Bengalis can say if you've worked in a restaurant,
No, you know what? You don't qualify as a Bengali if you haven't
you
worked
didn't
in a
have
restaurant.
worked in a restaurant. But you know the banter that comes in a restaurant when you're in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's mad, you know. It's actually
I
crazy.
get cussed for not being able to speak Bengali in the
Right.
kitchen, and I get called the maddest things, but it's a joke. It's a
With
laugh.
me, like the whole thing
I
is
really enjoyed it.
when I speak Sylheti, and then after a couple of days they find out I'm not from Sylhet.
Yeah.
It's like
You
I've
get
told them
roasted.
really exactly. They're like, "Why really?" Yeah.
So we've heard from Johan, and now Ridwan and Shafy. Ridwan, you're in work, so we'll touch on that soon.
Yeah.
But last year, you and myself, but both of you as well, were still in education in Ramadan.
That's right. Yeah.
And before we touch on work specifically, education is still part of work. It's for a person who's studying. It's still part of that. It's like they're full time basically. They might have part time work to fund it and everything. How did you feel balancing Ramadan with university stress, Ramadan with university work at that point, with any assignments due? I'm asking this because this week, I'm not sure how many unis. I'm pretty sure Birmingham universities like Aston and the BCU, they're doing exams and assignments this year. So they're in the exam period right now in this week and the coming weeks. And I'm pretty sure other universities are as well. How did you guys cope with studying and Ramadan?
Actually, thinking about it now, last Ramadan, actually, so I was in my final year of university. So by then I've done my dissertation. I've done my dissertation and everything like that as well. So and it was coming up to May June, wasn't it? Done. So yeah, I was finished everything really, and I was just relaxing. I was doing my part-time job. I think we had the cricket going on last year as well, the World Cricket in England. So I was partaking in that as well, just doing my student and stuff like that. So I wasn't working much, to be honest.
Yeah.
And obviously we used to go out and stuff like that. So I was doing a lot more. I was helping out a lot more in my masjid as well.
Yeah.
Just doing things like that really. So it was okay for me, alhamdulillah.
Shafy's been chilling these Ramadans, hasn't he?
He has. I mean, I wasn't as fortunate as Shafy, to be fair. I had resits. So that was during the Ramadan period.
It all happens for the
resits. Hate resits, man.
Indeed, yeah.
One of them's been following me for a whole year now, and Corona's pushing it further.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a curse, you know, that resits.
It is, honestly. And then I was working through it as well. So before my job now, I was actually a security guard. And security guard, if people know, it's 12-hour shifts. So the first 2 weeks of Ramadan, I was doing 12-hour shifts, and I was coming home and I was revising.
Was it day shifts or night shifts?
It was day shifts. I was
Day
actually
shifts.
working at different sites and so on. So I would work in office buildings, and you just have to like monitor and so on. So I'm not going to go into the specifics, but
No,
do
but
that.
I want to know, like, you know, when you're doing security for 12
Yeah.
hours, bro, doesn't it get boring, especially when you're fasting? How did
Do
you
you know what
cope?
it was? Last year I really enjoyed the site I was on. Just 'cause,
Really?
yeah, it was actually met some good people, to be fair. So, I
Okay,
mean,
okay.
one of the guys in the canteen, he's probably...
What are you doing in the
Canteen
canteen?
in Ramadan.
One of the guys from the canteen, sorry. One of the guys, then one of the other...
Just checking up everyone's
one
eating.
of the other part-time guards was there as well. And we got on really well, so we get
Yeah.
into good conversations and so on. I really enjoyed it, but the aspect of me having to work 12 hours and then come home and break my fast, because I'd do 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. shifts, and I'd get
Right,
home. And I was working commentary, and I'd come back and I'd get in time back for iftar, and then after iftar I'd go revise and tarawih, because obviously everything was pre-coronavirus, so obviously everything was going on the same
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
old days.
And you know, all the boys, you know, it's commentary road. You go
Yeah.
hit up after Tarawih, it's regardless.
Oh,
So I was
missed that,
doing that
bro.
as well. So it was honestly a crazy hectic schedule, but alhamdulillah, got through it with the barakah. Same with Johan with the barakah of Ramadan. Just got through it, and alhamdulillah, I did well. So
Alhamdulillah.
that's the
So you still found time after working, after keeping
know
up
what
with
it was? I
Ramadan
think-
and assignments to go Coventry Road?
Nah, you know, I didn't go all the time. It was literally because I would have to be up again at 7 a.m. So it was a case of me going. Come see the lads, have a tea, and then after work was done and after my recess, I was there every night.
So was it like
Yeah.
3 days on, 3 days off? Or
No,
4
it was
days?
actually I did 5 days.
5
I did
days.
Monday to Friday for 2 weeks.
Wow.
To be fair, yeah. So
Fair enough.
to be fair, it's easier than what I'm doing now, because obviously I'm constantly doing different things and I'm active. But with security, just sitting there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't complain.
Still
See,
crucial.
so 7 o'clock in the morning, you woke up last year. I think we
I'll
still
get it right, bro. It was about 5:30. Mate.
Okay, but
Sorry, Victor.
we're still all waking up quite early for these radio shows, and I think today we felt it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Everyone was a bit panicky, rushy, like, oh, we're getting late. I was getting text messages from the boss. Where are you? I only saw that when I got into the studio, actually. But I think, alhamdulillah, this year, I don't really have much to do. So because I've been working a few freelance jobs in media, I've done them, I've got them out the way. Now it's just the radio, really, and trying to sort of keep up with my ibadah. But taking it back to 2017, and I always believe that this was the best Ramadan I've had.
Okay.
And the reason why is so I was working as a fundraising officer in the Midlands for a humanitarian charity, and it was in Ramadan. And the reason why I say it was the best Ramadan I've had is because although it was Ramadan and I was working 60 hours a week while I was only contracted with 37 and a half hours, it didn't feel like it. And it didn't feel like it because the atmosphere was great and my work schedule was based around Ramadan. I was working for Taraweeh and Fajr and Maghrib and all of that, and it was great because it was all catered around Ramadan.
So what is it that what exactly is it that you had to do for your work?
So basically, like any other charity, any other officer in a charity, me and Brother Osama, who will try to get on. I've begged him to come on. You know him as a Nasheed singer and a Qari. We were both the Midlands officers for a humanitarian charity, and we were sort of running the Midlands charity fundraisers, the events, the projects, the volunteer pool
Right.
in the Midlands, while our seniors were doing the fundraising across the country. And that was great because it gave me a lot of experience. It kept me up at the right times, let me sleep at the right times, and exposure to the right people, exposure to amazing qaris. And although some people might think, oh, spiritually you don't have enough time to like connect with yourself, but the people that I was around, Sheikh Abu Bakr Shatri and these, being in the presence for suhoor and gaining from them just before suhoor in conversation and all of that, it was great. Balancing a white job or a British job, which I had last year in Ramadan, was the retail job.
Right.
And again, this was very easy for me. And the reason why it's easy for me was because my manager was very supportive. And she used to, let me go down to pray. Just like people have cigarette breaks now, I used to be able to take extra breaks on top of my hour or half an hour break, and go downstairs in Grand Central in City Centre and utilize my prayer room for Salah. She used to let me go home early because I had to do iftar. She used to be considerate that, he's been awake quite a while, so let's not push him much. And I think as long as you have that support system there,
I wish I had kind managers like you, but
inshallah in the future.
Inshallah.
So because I had the support system there, I think it was very easy for me. And I think since 2017, my Ramadans have been great because I've had managers that are great, I've had jobs that are great, and now even to this Ramadan, although we're in lockdown, I'm essentially doing a job with my friends. Last year also, while working in retail, I also had my uni work. And I was also going into uni because there was no lockdown, 4 days a week. And I found that not stressful. And the reason why I found that is not stressful is because although we were fasting, I found that I could focus better.
Did you have to wake up around early morning as well? Or?
Yeah. So the way it worked is Ramadan worked perfectly for me because the way the structure of my workshops was, we had 2 workshops a day, and because it was a postgraduate discipline that I was on, the way the workshops worked was we study ourselves and do the pre-reading and then get in and tell the tutor what we've learnt, and then they'll correct us. So even before Ramadan, what I was doing is I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning anyway, preparing the morning's work. So in Ramadan, it worked perfectly because I was up until suhoor anyway. So I still had time to prepare the work and get into uni, and then my schedule wasn't disrupted basically. So yeah, it really depends on what kind of job you've got and what kind of management system and people around you. Like Ridwan said, he had people that he could speak to and get good conversation out of. One thing that might be very different for people this year, Ridwan, you're still out in the field, but a lot of people now, because of lockdown, are working from home. I'm not sure if Sadiq is working from home.
I think he is.
But we'll find out after we come back from break. But we'll ask him that as well. That I think is very different. I don't know if any of you have ever worked from home. I think Johan, you've worked from home.
I have. It's horrible. I hate it. I really don't.
I think it's a case of people don't want to mix. Home time is their time.
Yeah, it really is.
You don't want to
horrible,
mix work time with home times. It's just not good. You don't have a sense of flow and balance.
Environment is such a big deal, man.
100%. I could not do uni at home. Uni work at home. I had to go to uni.
Did you?
Yeah, I was that type of person.
Nah,
or some sort of environment.
Really?
Yeah.
Now with uni, I'm different. Uni, I can't work outside of home. I'm weird like that.
I couldn't do it.
So with me, I get lazy if I'm at home. And one thing I've stopped doing, and I used to do this because I was up till 4 o'clock doing my uni work, I used to do it in bed. So psychologically, the bed was my study now. And so I didn't sleep properly because that's not my place to sleep anymore.
Right.
But I noticed this because I did it yesterday. I pulled my laptop to my bed, but with all the freelance work that I'm doing, I've decided to utilize my chair, my posture, utilize my study area, cleaned it out, gutted it out so I can use it. And up until yesterday, I was fine with it. I think yesterday I was really tired.
Can I say your workstation looks good, man? I've seen it on your Snapchat.
So
the
LEDs and that mechanical keyboard, bad.
Alexa, the whole lot.
Subhanallah. I just use it for inspiration, really. But yesterday, because I got home after the radio show, I was knackered and I needed to be out in the evening as well. When I was making the graphic for today's show and I got the picture, I was really, really tired. So
yeah.
what I did is I went to my study, I got my laptop, come back into bed. Although I'm not going to be lying down or anything, I just felt more comfortable just, being
just
around
being-
cushions and,
yeah.
and I did it. I banged it out and then I'm like, yeah, that's it. I'm going back
Done,
into
yeah.
bed. As soon as I turned my laptop off, sent the graphics out,
Knocked
and then I was just about to lie down and my friend from Bristol called me like, yo,
I gotta give it to you, man. Atik. Your work ethic is respectable, man.
It
Mashallah.
really is.
May Allah keep you consistent, honestly.
yeah,
Because
I
it's
mean,
mad. I wish I work hard. I'm gonna say myself, I work hard, but I don't work as hard as this guy does, man. For real.
mashallah.
I
Well,
only
he,
work hard because if I have to.
Yeah.
I'm that type of person where if I get a chance, I'll sleep.
see, it's with me. I need that motivation.
Mm.
And I think what happened that day, like specifically that you might be thinking about, is very recently he phoned me. He's like, "Yo, let's bang this video out after Fajr and get all the edits out the way." And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." Well, I said, "Actually, I'll let you know because I didn't know if I was feeling it until Fajr. After Suhoor, I'll let you know."
He said to me, "Talk to me after Fajr."
Inshallah.
I'm like, yo, okay.
So and then he got on Zoom with me. He was watching what I was doing, and he's like, "Oh, we'll just get about a third or half of it out the way, and then we'll get the rest out in the day." I'm like, "Nah, I'm
You
awake
do it
now.
today."
We do it now."
Yeah, just finish it. Get it
Yeah,
out
you
of
need
there.
that push sometimes.
Yeah,
isn't it?
because then at least it frees up the rest of your day, and it helps with planning as well, which is a big part of how you tackle your day. And we'll talk about planning and stuff either with Sakib or after Sakib is off the phone while we're wrapping up. But we've got 45 seconds until the break. Once we are back off the break, we will have our guest on. He'll introduce himself. Actually, we'll ask him to introduce himself, but just a bit of insight. He does a lot of charity work. He has a podcast, and he works for a multinational bank at the headquarters in Canary Wharf. So he's one of them city banker boys. So we'll have him on shortly, and we'll also talk to Ridwan again about what he's doing currently work-wise, because he's still in work as well as doing radio as well as Ramadan. So we'll see how that's the work ethic right now. So we'll see what they're saying after the break. So join us again.